Hi, I'm John Fowler. I'm joined here today by Martin Mikos, who heads up database products at Sun. So Martin, you've been involved obviously in MySQL for many years. Give us a little feel for what MySQL stands for.
So as many know, we are the world's most popular open source database, and we're specifically used in high volume websites. So we're really known for performance and scale out. So big names such as Google, YouTube, Facebook, Yahoo, they all run on MySQL.
Everyone's concerned obviously about economics today, and tell me a little bit how MySQL fits into today's times.
So we always believe that there will come a day when the only thing people can use is open source because it's so overwhelmingly efficient when it comes to using resources, not just financial resources, but energy efficiency and scalability.
So your customers, when they come to you, what's the conversation around infrastructure, and how do you bridge the conversation from MySQL to infrastructure and their needs?
So that depends on what type of customer it is. If it is a rapidly growing web property or new business, they come in and say, how can we get 5% more performance, 5% more scale, more throughput? How can we get latency down just a little bit? And then what they need is the best, absolutely best and newest technology, and they're ready to pay for it. And then we have others who come in and say, we just need to do more with less. How can we be the most cost efficient in deploying new applications and avoid overspending on hardware we don't use or software we don't use or features we'll never use?
Yeah, so a couple things that we're working on, since this is work we're doing together, obviously is making MySQL scale better on multi-processor level systems. So obviously with Intel and AMD, more cores, more sockets, more threads, and then on the Spark architecture, we have highly threaded architectures already. And so obviously being more scalable means you can run more different kinds of applications and also consolidate more applications on a single platform. And that's clearly a major area that's going on. The other thing is solid state storage and next generation storage. So we're coming up and announcing some new storage architectures. We've been working on a top to bottom refresh of the product line using solid state, and that's where we've seen tremendous performance increases because obviously you have an I/O intensive application, and that really works well with the new storage.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that in sort of 95 when the web started growing, it was mostly a single CPU play, mostly scale out of what we call crappy hardware. You run on whatever PCs you could and you scale out enormously. Now we're seeing the trend turning also to scale up and a combination of the two. So depending on your deployment, you may scale out with lots of inexpensive servers, or you may scale up with very expensive, very powerful ones where you can consolidate. And we even have customers now who scale diagonally. So on the central database servers, they scale up. On the replicas, they scale out, and that's how they get the best efficiency.
And as you know, today we have, platforms that come into the entry sub $1,000 US, Intel as well as AMD platforms, Windows, Linux, Solaris, all the way up to the highest scale platforms as well. So we're always happy to have MySQL customers start with Sun and grow up with Sun. So you talked about ease of use as being one of your number one things, and just touch on why that's so important to you.
So it sort of is just our tradition to make sure that it's easy to adopt our technology. But we've learned over the years that the most brilliant technologists in the world are also the most impatient ones. So if you don't give them the benefit directly, they'll just lose interest. And maybe you think you lost just a tenth of your audience, but you might have lost the most important part of your audience. So that's why we have the 15-minute rule. Download, get going with MySQL in 15 minutes or less.
Well, we're having a little trouble doing that with hardware, doing it as a download. But
we're getting close.
We're getting there. So obviously with, our programs where both startups as well as regular customers, anyone can basically try without obligation, our platforms and use them and see how they like them as well.
Yeah. We provide 65,000 product downloads every single day to our groups. And now there's a try and buy with Sun where you can get hardware. That's exciting. And I guess you have different configurations for web customers, communications companies, enterprise applications.
Absolutely. So we have a program called Blueprints, and we sit down and figure out a reference architecture and sizing. We really test these things so that we can tell a customer, no, this is what it will really do in these different circumstances. And these blueprints are all multi-tier. So again, we don't think in terms of one system. We think in terms of infrastructures. And for these different application spaces, we're going to have unbelievable performance and technical capability balanced across the system, not just fast processors, but networking and storage, which is what a MySQL customer needs.
Great. When can I start to sell?
You can start selling now. We have all this now, as you know.
Thank you.
So anyway, Martin, I want to thank you for joining me today. And this is John Fowler. I want to thank all of you for joining us today. And good day.